Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this conclusion of the season 5 of Get Good NA here on the console side of things. We are down to the last match of the season. It's going to be no one taking on Diamond Gatekeepers here tonight for the junior division title. Last match of the season, it all comes down to this. I'm Shy Guy, joined now by Ocean, and we saw no one going up yesterday in a hard fought series, went all the way to six max, a crazy reverse sweep. You were there from start to finish. So, what should we expect here tonight, Ocean?
Yeah, it's exciting what to talk about when we talk about no one because we're not actually talking about no one. We're talking about a team here who, they struggled yesterday. They struggled in the first part of yesterday when they played against Orchis. They couldn't really find an identity that worked for them. However, once they moved Billowy Splash onto the off tank role, play a little bit of the diva composition, they looked really good at Avianset moving over to the main tank, and they found their identity. And one thing that was consistent for them is their support players knew exactly what heroes to play, when to play them, and that was what gave them the edge over Orcus in their crazy 6-map reverse sweep. They were 2-0 down, and they drew King's Row, and then they won 3 maps in a row to bring us back. And then we have a tough game for them tonight. They're against the Diamond Gatekeepers, who they played in week 5, and they actually they beat Diamond Gatekeepers 3-2 as well. So the Gatekeepers will want their revenge, but no one. They seem to have the clutch factor.
Yeah, they haven't been beaten yet on the season, and they're looking to keep that streak going here, sweep their way all the way through the playoffs here as well after a hard fought series. They've got one more hurdle get over here tonight, and we're going to see in just a little while if they're gonna be able to seal the deal, keep their perfect record intact, or if the Diamond Gatekeepers can get that revenge. As you mentioned, they were the only team to really come close to no one until the playoffs. So now I'm really excited to see if they've stepped up their game in the time since then, and what they'll be bringing to the table here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to go to Lijiang Tower first. Actually, a map that no one lost yesterday, so would be curious to know why they selected that. Of course, they are the higher seats. They get first map choice, but they will select the map that they lost, but they have got their new identity. So yesterday we saw Billowy Splash playing the off tank and Aviantet playing the main. Billowy Splash playing the main tank and Aviantet playing the off tank for the first map. However, later in the series, they switched to a new identity where they swapped their 2 tank players around, and they looked so much better the rest of the series when they did that. And I feel like that's gonna give them a little push for this map, and I feel like that might be the edge that they need in this series.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an interesting adaptation. Not one that I think most teams would kind of be willing to make mid-series like that. I mean, coming in, you usually feel like you've got your pretty defined roles, and of course, when we're talking about most teams, tank players, they have some experience going on to the kind of alternate role, whether it's off tank to main tank or vice versa. Of course, if you're queuing for tank all the time, at some point you're gonna wind up playing the other side of the coin. But still, interesting to see that no one was able to make that change on the fly like that. Not a lot of teams would really, I think, be willing to do that, and it kind of saved them when they needed it most.
Yeah, and they did it in a semi-final matchup as well. That takes some serious balls, all right? Try put your main tank and off tank. Your main tank, they're kind of hard fed in that first map. Bring them back in, put them on a new role, and for that to work, and them to do that, and even have the courage to do that, it's definitely some nice skill from our junior team.
No, definitely. And now they look to finish off what has been an incredible season. We have it's been a long, season here. Season 5 has been incredible from start to finish, and we're now kind of approaching the end of it. We had, of course, the playoffs on the PC side of things a couple of weeks ago. Now the console side is coming to a head here tonight with the junior division. We'll still have the senior division, of course, coming tomorrow evening. But this is what it's really all about. This is what the entire season has led up to, and I'm just incredibly excited to get underway here and to kind of for these teams to give us a shot of what they're capable of.
I mean, this is super cool. This is our first ever console season of Get Good. Originally, it was just a PC tournament. This is our first console season. PC playoffs have finished, And of course, we crowned our EU champion last week, but of course, we only have one EU division, but we have 2 NA champions being crowned this week. And it's going to be cool. You know, you're going to be winning the first ever Get Good console season. So both of these teams will be up for this one. And just a quick thanks to the rest of the Get Good console staff. You know what? I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. I missed my back, so that was a bit awkward. I actually missed. I hit my shoulder. But yeah, myself, Rugby, Munching Carrot, and Connor Zima. I think we did a pretty good job running this Get Good console tournament. Of course, Missy, you know, is basically in charge of us, making sure we don't do anything daft. You know, running the Get Good scene entirely. Thank you to everyone who's made this possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, we always would be remiss if we didn't mention any of the other people kind of making this possible on the production side of things. I want to shout out Bull Skunk specifically because I feel like that guy has been on literally every console broadcast we've had as an observer, producer,
Right.
like just every single possible role is filled there.
Yeah, no, he's had to observe every single console name. So yeah, thank you, Bull Skunk.
Yeah, we could not do it without all the people making it work behind the scenes. But we'll be getting underway in just a couple of minutes here. All the players kind of getting settled in here as we get ready to go into Lijiang Tower. Let's start looking a little bit towards that first map and what we can expect out of these two teams. You know, specifically looking at No One and what they were able to do yesterday. You know, do we expect them to try and switch up their game plan and, you know, stick with Billy Splash playing that off tank role, even though it wasn't what they showed on Lijiang Tower yesterday?
That's a good question. It's a really good question because they did struggle yesterday on Lijiang Tower. However, knowing Billy, who is a very capable player on either main tank or off tank, they could do either way. I mean, this is the exact same lineup that I can see on my left-hand side that they brought to Lijiang. So they could go for a similar look. But, I mean, what gave them the series victory yesterday was putting Billy Splash on that Diva and Avianta on that Reinhardt. That's how they won the series. And, of course, if they do that, you have some options on Garden in particular. You can put Avianta on the Winston, which means that Billy Splash can play the Diva and you can run some sort of dive composition or dive look on, of course, Lijiang Garden, which is a dive-based map. So you've got some more options this time around.
Yeah, and of course, when we're talking Lijiang Tower, especially here on the console side of things, I am always coming into this map just looking out, keeping an eye on, is anyone going to pick up the Pharah? Just because of you know, all of the opportunity that you can create for your team on this map in particular. I think it excels in kind of allowing space for Pharahs to really fly free and exert their influence, especially here in console, where, you know, that hero definitely has its advantages.
I mean, all the projectile heroes really have an advantage. You know, the Pharah, Junkrat, Mei is another hero that has a pretty good advantage. Widowmaker, Ashe. Those are the 5 heroes that I would kind of list as having a big advantage on console because those projectiles are incredibly hard to avoid. You know, hit scans. You know, you don't have the same aiming tools as you do with mouse and keyboard. So you're going to be looking to hit those large explosives with the Pharah and the Junkrat. That's your goal. Those heroes are definitely pretty strong on console in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if our eyes are not deceiving us, or at least the players are not deceiving us in the spawn rooms, Autumn Canvas is going to be picking up the Pharah to kick things off. It makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at what the rest of the team is kind of doing around that. They're going to run in with that Rein Zarya. They're going to take the Sim TP to point very quickly. And despite a brief pause, I'm excited to see what this rollout has to bring to play, especially with that Doomfist on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this composition for the side of Gatekeepers, don't really have anything that can really deal with that for, unless that Zarya gets charged up, ready to go. But it's gonna be difficult for them to deal with that absolute beast in disguise.
No, most definitely, but they're going to see if they can kind of win the frontline battle here. For the time being, not going their way at all. Nez falls early, Jack Shabs as well, and that is an excellent start here for No One. They are going to be able to take control of this point early. Some nice ult charge there going to be bought for Autumn with that boot off the edge of the map.
Yeah.
Avian Tech goes down too. Legend with the double boot. kind of gives them a shot, but they still just don't have the numbers.
Yeah, they don't have the numbers to push in against the Symmetra turrets. Of course, all of them are going to get slowed down. And one thing with the Symmetra is means that the respawn times are slower, or faster for no one, as they can get everyone back with that Symmetra teleporter.
Yeah, but now a lot of pressure onto Billy Splash. The Earth Shatter comes down, knocks over 2, able to deal with Nez immediately. And just as the re-engage was happening there for the Gatekeepers, they get shut down completely by the Shatter.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that we see Gatekeeper swap over to the Ryan Sigma. Generally a really good pick into the Ryan Zarya, because Zarya is going to be struggling to get that charge up and struggling to get that damage in. Of course, Zarya can do up to 190 damage per second with that fully charged beam, but against the double shield, that's not so possible. So I like the Ryan Sigma swap. However, it is an interesting note. We do see Billowy Splash back on the Reinhardt, Avianset back on the Zarya. So what they ran on Lijiang yesterday, they seem to still have faith in their original lineup.
No, they're going to roll with it right now, and for the time being, it seems to be working quite well. They're going to have some nice ultimates to work with in this fight. The Graviton Surge Chief among them here. Avian Tet cannot get that one down immediately as the Shatter is in for Nez, but there's the barrage in over the top. Only traded 1-for-1 there as Autumn will fall, but with the Coalescence out from Big Burrito, that's just going to be a pretty easy cleanup here for no one as they hunt down these remaining members.
Yeah, the Ashe is going to get staggered out as well. Actually, no, yeah, it is. Going to go off the map, and 92%, this is last fight territory for the Gatekeepers. They got to get back onto the point. They're doing both of their DPS ultimates, though, so if they can get there, they will have a chance.
Yeah, Legend able to get in with the touch on the Lucio, but immediately focused down. Now it's all on this Death Blossom, and Autumn's going to put an end to that before it even really gets going. Now, even with the Coalescence, it's going to be impossible for Diamond Gatekeepers to try and make something happen, but Bob is in. Jack Jeff's providing pressure from an alternate angle, but it cannot deny the res there. Absolutely massive to get that Reinhardt back in the fight, especially as Splash gets up to that Shatter, knocks down the Sigma, and that should really be it here, as it's just the stragglers remaining for Diamond Gatekeepers.
Yeah, so Diamond Gatekeepers not really showing much in this map. I mean, they played okay in the first fight of that garden map, but they didn't really show us anything otherwise. Legend showing us some cool Lucio tech, getting 2 environmental kills, so that was super awesome from Legend. However, other than that, they didn't really show us anything. There was no good compositional switches. I mean, they swapped for them the Zarya to the Sigma, which was good, but they didn't get any value out of the Sigma, so that didn't really mean anything. And it looks like we're seeing a semi-mirror matchup. And I mean, yes, they were able to get set up. They were able to get that Symmetra set up, and that is difficult to walk into, but why not make the switch? You know, you're struggling to walk in, so make a switch. Maybe go to a Winston, get rid of those turrets. Maybe go to a Pharah and just spam from outside. You have so many different options, and none of those different options were taken up by the side of Gatekeepers, and maybe they're playing this a little bit stubbornly so far.
Yeah, and they might be a little bit slow on the uptake here. They've got the Ashe in their lineup, which, you know, with no Pharah on the other side, might be a little bit harder to find value here on Control Center, but Nez gonna be able to chime in early here. The Fire Strike gets an initial kill, and without the Moira in the fight, absolutely no way for no one to stick around there. They're just gonna get bullied out here immediately, and that's exactly what we wanted to see here out of Diamond Gatekeepers, answering back.
Yeah, Diamond Gatekeepers running the Ana instead of the Moira, which is more consistent single target heals, whereas the Moira is nice burst healing for an area of effect. So those are the 2 differences that we're going to be looking at. And actually, that's not good for them now. They've lost to Reinhardt. I'm not sure how that really happened. Just an overextension on their part by the looks of things.
Yeah, just a little bit of a disconnect there between the main tank and the rest of the squad. Now it's going to be Diamond Gatekeepers trying to fight this one back. Jack Sheb does manage to stay alive up here alone, isolated for such a long time, buying space for the team. They're going to be able to get the Reinhardt back in here pretty shortly. And still, this one very winnable here for Diamond Gatekeepers. They just kind of dance around, they buy time, and they come up with a big win.
Yeah, no one looking lost again here on Control Center. They looked lost yesterday. You have to secure that Junkrat kill. There were so many mistakes that are made by their opposition and Gatekeepers. The Junkrat out of position should have been an easy kill. They didn't secure that. The Reinhardt, they did secure that kill. However, you have a 65 fight, and they didn't capitalize on it. They didn't take their advantage. That Riptire will help them, though.
Yeah, they're going to have another opportunity here, but they're walking straight into another Riptire. Jack Jeb's going to be able to deal with Billowy Splash, and Avian Tech can't quite get back to the Coalescence in time to heal on up. So Diamond Gatekeepers going to continue their dominance here on Control Center.
Yeah, Avianset's going to run over to the Diva because they know that Fit Glark has that Graviton Surge, and that's the critical ultimate in this next fight, because if they lose another fight, it's last fight territory, and the pressure is, well, we're truly all know when if that Graviton Surge goes off.
Most definitely. So I'm also looking at B to potentially hit a nice biotic grenade to set up some kills, but the shatter comes down as soon as Nez falls, knocks a couple of members on their backs, and now Autumn in with the Death Blossom in the back, shut down immediately. The Zarya still in this fight, still has that grab in her back pocket, and she wants to unleash it, but for the time being, it does seem like no one have managed to chime back in here. But they are on their final fight. They've got to make it work here and now, and they're kind of out of ultimates. They need this sound barrier to get back in. There it is from Big Burrito.
Yeah, Avianset's remix, so that Diva has full Matrix and is ready to play. I don't think it'll make a difference, however.
No, but the Nano onto Nez just might here, swing away with that Reinhardt hammer, trying to secure the final kills here. The grab will eliminate a couple more. The Doomfist in desperate attempt to keep this going. It's not gonna happen here, as Diamond Gatekeepers, as dominant as that first point was, it swings right back in the other direction.
Yeah, this is a weird map for me, because Diamond Gatekeepers on paper, you know, 100-0 on Control Center, but concerns from me from both sides, because Diamond Gatekeepers, yes, you want 100-0, however, that Graviton Surge should have been used immediately. You want to win that fight, that second to last fight, as fast as possible, and put your opposition under pressure. They kept it for so long, and realistically, that Graviton Surge at the end didn't really mean anything, but they definitely should have used that instantly. And also the mistakes that they made earlier in the map when the Reinhardt went down, when Jax was out of position, those are concerning times. And for no one's sake, I'm also concerned, because that's the second day in a row that they've looked completely lost on Control Center. 100-0 again. They need to definitely rethink their strategy on that map.
Yeah, but this time they get to go back to what worked for them on Gardens. It's the Pharah, it's the Symmetra in play once again, in the early charge there from Billowy Splash is going to take out the Lucio. They've lost a DPS in the meantime, but the turrets still remain on the point here for Madly, and with that, with Jax going down to the poke from Autumn in the back line, it does look like no one going to be able to come out on top early on here, get the first cap at least in their favor.
Yeah, however, their Mercy is down, so therefore it's going to have a little less resources, so they're going to have to play a little bit more passively, and you kind of pointed that out perfectly. Madly Dankart went down early, however, still got those Symmetra turrets up, which made it pretty difficult for the Gatekeepers tank line to even engage on the side of no one.
Yeah, they haven't been able to successfully push in just yet, and Autumn still a nuisance in this back line, gets a double kill there immediately, now looking to clean up on the rest of these members of Diamond Gatekeepers, stop their retreat, cut them off, and secure a little bit more ult charge, a little bit more time for their team to tick on up.
Yeah, now they're building up to their ultimates. They're going to be getting close to that Graviton Surge and that Barrage. That's a nice combination that we'll have online. They'll also have Valkyrie as a sort of defensive ultimate to try and give resources to Autumn Canvas on that far and make sure that they can get damage boosted for that Barrage. Trip looking for an off angle to try and get onto that far. We'll hit a couple of shots, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
No, and the boop there onto Nez keeps the Ryan from...
Okay.
What is that, Jax? Coming in from the side through the window with the Rip Tire, gets a triple kill. Too easy there for Diamond Gatekeepers as they push on in, and we're gonna have our first sub-map not go 100-0 here.
Yeah, they only invest 2 ultimates as well. They are Shadow and the Rip Tire, 2 ultimates that you will get fairly fast, so pretty good ultimate economy as well. And Avianset gets stuck in the steel trap, goes down early, so they have to rethink pushing in, because that's what they have in their win condition. It's their Graviton Surge that Avianset does possess, so they can't push in for now. They're going to wait for their Zarya and go again for the next fight.
When now we've got Madly going over to the Junkrat of their own here. So much spam damage going to be coming out from no one. We'll see if it gives them trouble in trying to focus down individual targets, but we'll give it a shot here as the grab comes out early. The barrage in over the top is going to deal with Nez immediately. The Bob as well goes down pretty quickly, but not before killing off Billy Splash. So an opportunity here for Diamond Gatekeepers to keep this fight going. They've held back and they've weathered the storm for the time being. Now looking to push forward here with this fully charged Zarya, with the Graviton Surge ready to go if needed, but it's not going to be necessary.
Yeah, that's a critical fight win for the Gatekeepers. They deal with the onslaught of ultimates that were online for no one. Graviton Surge, Barrage, and Coalescence getting little value for them, and now they have a Graviton Surge and Riptire of their own. So the ultimate economy swinging back into their favor.
Oh, and their Autumn gets picked off, trying to come in on the flank. No mercy in tow at that point, so goes down to a couple quick shots from Trip. Now the Riptire can't quite find anything in the backline, and still the grab is ready to go, but they're losing members fast. There's not going to be anyone to follow up on this grab. It's thrown in across the point, but no kills secured there, and that could wind up being crucial here as we approach final couple of fights.
Yeah, that screams of junior division, because that Riptire from Natalie Dankart was terrible. It didn't get anything. Trippy gets staggered out. Avianta getting moved also. Gonna be an interesting last fight with both teams having 5, but they all backed off from the Riptire and they just give too much space to the side of no one, which meant that their Pharah, their Reinhardt, and their Zarya could push in and get the damage in, and that's exactly what they did.
Indeed, but now we're going to see another tire coming in here to kick things off. Jack's just going in the front door, looking for some picks in the back line. Will find some members, but eventually just has to settle for that single kill onto the Reinhardt. Still might be enough here as the rest of the team pushing in aggressively. They've got Ivian in that trap once again. Just a brutal sequence of events for that Zarya, and now they're down to their last legs.
Yeah, it's last fight territory, and both of these teams will have some ultimates online for this next fight. Aviantet switching over to the Wrecking Ball to make sure they get the touch. Billy Splash also under pressure to touch on that Reinhardt. Will they be able to make it?
Oh, the Wrecking Ball does wind up making it in there, but now they are down. They are not quite out just yet, but it might be that in a moment. The res coming in from Sage's Castle is quite nice, but still, there's just no hope here. The Reinhardt can do nothing about it, and that's going to be an easy final fight there for Diamond Gatekeepers. They pick up the first map, they go up 1-0, and they're on the road to revenge right now.
Yeah, I wanna point out that support battle here. It just seems that the supports on Gatekeepers just are getting more value out of the picks. Legend had a couple of nice environmental kills, especially that one on the Eviantet for that last fight was extremely nice. And okay, that was an interesting play of the game. I can see on my left-hand side. Got a boop, of course, on the John Garden as well. So Legend's pulling out some clutch plays on the loose here. That's something I am wanting to look at. But I want to go back to something else. I said I was confused by the Lijiang Tower pick, considering that no one lost this map yesterday, and they looked poor in this map yesterday. In particular on Control Center, they completely lost yesterday. And again, they looked lost again on Control Center today. So maybe sticking with that map choice and sticking with that lineup wasn't the correct call.
No, definitely. But I mean, that was a map that was still very much kind of within their grasp there when it came down to it there on Night Market. They had their chances to win that one out, and they just weren't quite able to convert a little bit of potential kind of inexperience coming into play with some kind of misused ultimates at times for no one, and it comes back to bite them. But for the Diamond Gatekeepers, they've got to be feeling good after starting the series off on the right foot, but still far from over at this point.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those scrappy and messy control points. It was kind of just whoever made the least mistakes won that one. There was a lot of mistakes from both oppositions. Whoever took advantage of them won each point. But we'll go back and we'll talk about our next map in the series, which will be Escort. And no one lost the first map yesterday and decided to go for Rialto. And it'll be interesting to see again if they go for Rialto, because they lost Rialto yesterday, and they showed a bit of stubbornness in picking maps that they just have fun with. We're picking Legion. Okay, they've just picked Rialto. So yeah, They are showing us some stubbornness. They lost this map yesterday. So I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern here.
Yeah, stubbornness. I mean, one would hope that they can say they came out of that series, learned from their mistakes. Potentially, if I'm trying to swing this in the positive direction for no one here, we'll see if maybe they just want some drama, want to try to repeat the series of events from yesterday, because it surely delivered in the entertainment department with that crazy reverse sweep all the way through. But Rialto, I mean, they, to their credit, they did finish the map on, at least on their attack of that
Yeah.
map. So like they, at least one side of things, they've got to be feeling fairly confident about.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't get the call on picking 2 maps in a row that you lost yesterday. I'm not so sure on that one, but maybe, yeah, maybe they are trying to, pick up another reverse sweep. Of course, they do have the most 3-2 victories of our Xbox Junior Division. That's a fun stat. I would believe they have the most with 3 or
Wow.
2. So
Yeah.
there's a fun fact. Um, so maybe that's what they are trying to. Maybe they're just trying to extend this series, get some nice screen time for the boys.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just one of those teams they cannot, deliver unless their backs are against the wall, unless something is really on the line there, and they'll be putting it all on the line if they do go down here on Rialto. But we'll see what kind of changes they might have up their sleeves for this map. I mean, given what I did see of the series yesterday, I'm excited to eventually get to the point where we get to see Autumn playing the Genji potentially.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that's something I've been looking forward to ever since I got to see some of the action that went down yesterday in Rialto. A very good opportunity to break that out.
Yeah, we could see that. That would be something I would like to see. And of course, we could see Billy Splash go back over to that Diva and Avianta go over to the Winds, and that's a new look that we could see for them on this map. Yesterday, they brought in Cold Tortoise to play the Orisa, and we saw Avianta, I believe, play the Sigma for them. Billy Splash was subbed out for Rialta, so we'll see what looks they decide to go for this time around. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Cold Tortoise, but I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna do. No one since they picked Lijiang and since they picked another map that lost, they're kind of striking me as a bit of a wild card.
No, for sure. They are definitely willing to kind of fly in the face of what we would consider reasonable activity so far in this series with their map picks, at least. So they'll definitely be willing to kind of go off script potentially if Cold Taurus didn't work out for them yesterday. Maybe they switch things up. Maybe they'll just go back to having Billy Splash play the off tanks once again. It worked for them in the reverse sweep yesterday, and we'll see if it comes down to that once again here today as they try to even things up here against Diamond Gatekeepers, who are off to a pleasant start here. But we've got a long way to go, of course, and the control is always so weird
Yeah.
in these series. It's a long series to play, and the first point was so messy from both of these teams that I'm really, I want to see them kind of settle into their game and really get that team play starting to shine through a little.
Yeah, that's something that we will see for them this series. Of course, Diamond Gatekeepers have the option to attack or defend first. They have elected to defend first. Of course, if you win the previous map here at the Get Good Championships, you will get to select if you attack or defend first. And of course, if you lose the previous map, you get to select that map. So that's one talking point that we will talk about in a bit. But I do kind of want to shift things over to another point that I want to talk about, and that is Rayonto just as a map in general. What would you like to see on this map?
I would expect just in general for teams to kind of go over towards what we would consider like the meta tank line a little bit more with that Orisa Sigma, especially coming into play. You of course with that comes a kind of shift in the support play as well. You would expect a lot more Baptiste coming into the picture, and kind of playing that little bit of a slower style, much less brawly than what we were getting there on Lijiang Tower. But of course, if teams really want to keep up the aggression, Rialto is a place where you can still run the Rein Zarya. You could break out the Diva as you've got a little bit more high ground to work with here on Rialto than we did on map number 1. So all of that is kind of in the back of my mind as we head into map number 2.
Yeah, though I would like to point out today we saw the series between Shanghai Dragons and New York Excelsior. One thing I do want to point out is when they subbed in someone who is a little bit of a one trick Arissa. New York Excelsior, they kind of switched up their game plan, what it seems like, and they went for the Zarya Winston dive competition. And it seems dive has always been a pretty good matchup against double shield, especially when you know they're going to play the double shield and you can play around those high grounds. So when you have that sense of predictability, you can go for that dive composition. And definitely have some favoritism against the double shield. We saw that in one particular week where Arista was banned, and we saw the Ryan Sigma double shield composition. There was like a crazy style dive into double shield, having like a 65.3% chance of winning each team fight. And to put that into context, San Francisco Shock last season, when they won the championship, had a 49.2 team fight win percentage.
Yeah, that number is kind of it's hard to wrap your head around, just because it kind of flies in the face of the prevailing meta over the last like several months, and it doesn't make sense on the surface necessarily for Dive to be able to leap into all of those kind of tanky bodies in the backline. But if well executed, Dive has always been a style that can really let kind of individual skill shine through, and when that happens, there's always room for kind of things to go off the walls.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to talk about Winston in particular because Winston is really good at pressurizing people to be out of position, and also is really good at doing damage for those shields. And of course, that Winston taser does go through, or the Tesla cannon does go through the shield, so you're getting a lot of damage on that Winston, and you're forcing players out of position, and that enables your dive DPS to be going and looking for those kills. But it looks like we're going to be something different. We're going to see that double shield that you predicted with the old style Ash Echo composition that we saw before Genji got those recent buffs.
Yeah, and this is understandable if your kind of projectile DPS player is just more comfortable on Echo. There's still a lot of value to be gained there, especially when you consider kind of the mobility that hero brings to the table. And if Genji is not necessarily your cup of tea, there's a lot of value to still be had with the focusing being with those sticky grenades that the Echo can provide. A lot of high potential plays to come out from Jack Jabs, but we'll see how that's going to match up against the Genji on the other side on canvas. This is what we saw them playing throughout most of the comeback yesterday. It's time to see if they can do it again.
Yeah, all of these compositions are different. Every single role is playing a different hero. So we see Brigitte versus Lucy, we see Baptiste versus Moira, Reinhardt versus Arista. So we'll see which composition comes out on top.
Yeah, that's a rare occurrence indeed to have 12 new heroes on the playing field, but Madly going to be the first to chime in here, gets onto the high ground with the Widowmaker, able to deal with B, no immortality field, no response capable there from the Baptiste, and now the chance for no one to get a little bit of aggressive here. They get in onto the front line, they deal with Nez, they unleash an early coalescence out from Sage's castle, and that's just going to let them take control of this choke point for the time being as they push forward, maybe a bit too far as they lose the mech very early on.
Yeah, I was going to point out those mirror matchups, which aren't exactly mirror matchups, but it's Baptiste versus Moira, and the Sage's Castle was able to build up that coalescence very quickly. And look at the side of B-Side Zuru, who's only on 65%. However, with that bulb, they're able to contest the point at the end of Rialto, get a nice hold at the end of point A, which is so difficult to get past once you're around this corner.
Yeah, that was essential. That's the kind of moment that can really make or break an attack here for no one. If they had been able to keep up that momentum, push on through, they'd be sitting on an incredible time bank. But as it is, they're gonna have to take another attempt or two here to initially push through, get some more progress on the point. They've got the Dragon Blade ready to go, but Autumn just diving into the backline, doing it with the secondary fire there, takes down Trip. But
okay.
Oh, the supercharged sticky bombs is just disgusting. Even swaps over the Reinhardt with the duplicate for good measure.
Yeah, they do use 3 of their ultimates, and I feel like they could have just got away with the supercharger usage there. That supercharger getting so much value with the sticky grenades coming out from Jack's Jabs. And I mean, supercharger is a very underrated ultimate. Had the highest team fight win percentage in Overwatch League Season 2. That's one of my favorite statistics to use. Although now we're kind of looking at Autumn Canvas. Has the Dragon Blade online? Got so many kills yesterday with that Dragon Blade. Let's see if they can do it again.
Indeed, they'll have an opportunity, but nothing really to easily kind of pair with it. No supercharger, no nano boost available. Yes, they might have the coalescence to provide a little bit sustained healing as they dive on back, but it's just going to be this kind of frontline team fight for the time being with the gravitic flux coming through. No kills just yet, but it forces out that early coalescence, and now the Blade is ready to go. Diving into the backline was Autumn, but there's no one there. They're positioned too far back, has to turn his attention back towards the front, only gets a swipe or two for their trouble. Not a great use of that Dragon Blade, and for the time being, it seemed like Diamond Gatekeepers are just going to be able to back off that initial aggression and hold firm.
Yeah, 2 points to point out, they use 3 ultimates and get 0 value, the Coalescence, the Self-Destruct, and the Dragon Blade. But when they go for that Dragon Blade, Autumn Canvas, I'm not sure if the opposition were just well positioned, but they seemed like they were in 2 minds. They wanted to dive for that backline, but I wonder if the target calling was suggesting just get onto the front line, get those kills on the point. But Autumn Canvas caught in 2 minds, and that Dragon Blade will get nothing in the end. They're going to switch over to the McCree here, and the double shield composition as well. So lots of switches coming through for the last fight. However, that means they will have no ultimates available.
Yeah, they're going to have a few ready to go in just a second. The support ultimates are almost online. Trip again, getting caught out before the fight gets going. That could be an opportunity now for no one to make something happen. But Jack switches over to the Sigma with the duplicate, now almost up to that Gravitic Flux. Can they get there in time to get the ultimate off? It's going to come through. Lifts everybody up in the sky. They've got to be on the cart. Overtime is ticking down. The damage comes through, and the kills are there for Diamond Gatekeepers. No chance for this Moira to get in and save the day, and no one will go no further.
I like that joke. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that one.
Thank you.
I was very impressed. But again, I want to talk about no one picking this map. They've just been full held again. They had the opportunity to be full held against Orcus. I said yesterday on the broadcast that Orcus really should have held where the side of Diamond Gatekeepers have held no one now today. And, well, they have been full held here on Rialto, and now they're in an instance where they have to full hold Diamond Gatekeepers back. And one thing I do want to point out is it doesn't seem like no one understands the different pieces of their composition. We saw Medley Dankart on the Widowmaker yet wasn't dueling the Ashe, where you could get a really nice duel against the Ashe. You have a nice matchup for your hit scans. And then we saw Autumn Canvas was taking the duel of the Ashe. That meant that, yeah, well, that means Medley Dankart is, you know, able to have nice open sightlines, but you're against double shield, usually playing for your Genji to win. That should be your win condition. It seems like they don't quite understand the pieces of their composition.
No, and you know, one other thing to note with kind of the comp, I would like that the way that they were playing that so much better if you had an Ana in place of the Moira. If you had the Nano to drop on the blade whenever that comes out from Autumn Canvas, as opposed to the Coalescence, which yes can be a really impactful ultimate, but is a little bit harder to kind of combo with anything else. And it left that blade out to dry, and they weren't able to get anything going there for Autumn Canvas. Now going over to the McCree for the defensive effort here, as they pick up a double shield of their own, trying to kind of match what we just saw at a Diamond Gatekeepers on the defense. And some changes here for the attackers as well, with the Genji coming in from Trip, and already off to a rough start.
Yeah, I think I want to go back on that Ana pick, because we saw the benefit of the Moira early on. They were able to build that Coalescence extremely fast and get the benefit of the Coalescence. However, that Nano Boost is really good at setting at win conditions, and they really lacked a win condition late on when they were trying to get that point A, and they're unable to use any sort of win condition to get the point. And at least now they're kind of setting ground on Canvas and Avianta getting some kills, as it looks like a bit of a struggle in the chains of composition for the side of Gatekeepers.
And so far, no one has used this corner pretty well in terms of using the map geography to give them some advantage. They take a lot of spam damage, and Trip able to somehow finish off the Orisa there. Aviantet goes down early. It's going to be up to this tire from Madley coming in from the high ground to potentially try and swing this one back, but hasn't dropped it just yet. Playing
He's going to go for
sneaky.
It. He's waiting. There it is.
Okay, gets one. I mean, he bought a lot of time just by standing in that doorway, to be honest, and then able to get one impactful kill there with the ultimate. It buys time, and they will stabilize quite nicely there, stave off that initial aggression.
I mean, sometimes all you need is only one kill, and they identified that if they can get one kill, that one buys some time for the rest to get back. But no, another tank has made a mistake. Billowy Splash going around in the corner and getting picked off by Jig's jab, so they're not learning from their mistakes, and this time they don't have a Rip Tire to save them.
No, and they're staring down the barrel of plenty of ults coming at them. The first is going to be this blade. It's got the sound barrier to beef up Trip as he goes into the backline. Cannot quite find the finishing slash there onto Autumn Canvas, but provides enough of a distraction for the rest of Diamond Gatekeepers to surge forward. They don't have to use a ton else, and they're finding some stagger kills. This might just be it here on
I don't think they can dodge. And they have so many ultimates online, the Sound Barrier and the Deadeye, and they're not even going to get to use them. They do get the Reinhardt in the point, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
They've got the two tanks here with that supercharger just gatekeeping, doing exactly as their name suggests. They keep no one from getting in onto the point. Diamond Gatekeepers up 2-0. They are on the path to revenge. It's going to take another reverse sweep here for no one to take the title. They've done it before, but this is looking dire.
Again, the same issues as yesterday on the exact same map. So I'm gonna bring it up again, and you're gonna get sick of me bringing it up. But why select the maps that you sucked at yesterday? It doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, you should have got full hold yesterday. The only reason you didn't get full hold yesterday is because Orcus made their own mistakes. But this time you got punished. On Control Center, again, you made the exact same sloppy mistakes and you got punished. You better hope that you can clutch out what you did yesterday. Otherwise, it's going to be a long review session for the side of no one in this grand finals.
No, and the pick of Rialto especially is a little bit strange to me, given what we've seen out of no one so far in the series, and even going back to yesterday, where they pretty much always want to be playing with a Reinhardt. They swapped over to the Orisa there for the defense, but it doesn't seem like something they're super comfortable with. They want to use the aggressive nature that a Reinhardt kind of brings to a team fight, and I don't think Rialto is a map for that necessarily. The Orisa Sigma is just too strong on this map in particular. I don't know exactly what the answers are. Maybe it's going to be King's Row, which will be our next map here. But no one's got to find the answers quickly.
See, they know that they can't play that Reinhardt matchup in the Orisa because they did it yesterday and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? So you just made the exact same mistake. So they've now got other options because we're going to King's Row. And yesterday they showcased a really cool dive composition on King's Row, and I would like to see that again. But why, when you pick Rialto, do you go for the exact same composition? Why not change it up? Go for that dive that you were quite confident on yesterday. Try and run something that's a little bit difficult to run in these lower tiers, but go for it. You were good on it yesterday, so why not do it again? We're going to King's Row. We saw a dive on the first point from them on King's Row, as I said. And it looks like Diamond Gatekeepers will elect offense first this time around. I think they want to get this series done and dusted.
Yeah, they are ready to finish the deal here. I mean, they could make it a quick one if they can come through clutch on King's Row. And, going first on the attack is not what you normally expect out of a team when they're given the option to select their side. But in this situation, I don't actually mind it because it offers a chance for Diamond Gatekeepers to come into this map and just throw an absolute knockout punch right off the bat.
Yeah, so actually, I'm going to point out something kind of crazy is that yesterday, when no one were playing against Orcus made the exact same swap. They decided that they wanted to attack first as well on this map. So this is kind of crazy. But this time we are going to see a change from no one. We're going to see no one swap out Aviantet, who was the MVP from yesterday, and is going to be swapped out for Cold Tortoise. So Cold Tortoise, who struggled yesterday on Rialto, is coming into the series. And that makes me think that we're not going to see that dive composition that we thought we were going to see. And it makes me think they're just going to elect into this double shield mirror matchup.
Yep. Perhaps they just feel like they can't really go away from the meta right now. Diamond Gatekeepers are really forcing it down their throat. At least they did there on Rialto. And if you don't think you can go off book here, if what you had planned for Rialto didn't work well at all, maybe they have the same thought for King's Row and feel the need to swap things up. Maybe it's just their backs are against the wall and they're trying to change up the mojo a little bit here. It worked yesterday as they kind of swapped main tank and off tank. This time they're going to just sub out one of their tanks in Aviantet, bring in Cold Tortoise, and hope that provides the spark that they need to turn this series around.
It's an interesting call because yesterday, the exact same first two maps, and they look kind of lost. They didn't really have an identity. Then they found their identity on King's Row by playing Billy Splash and Aviantet, but now you can't really find that exact same identity when you subbed out that tank. So it seems like they're trying to find a new identity, and this is the finals. I don't think you have time for that.
No, I mean this is literally it's do or die right now. You have no more room for error whatsoever. Anything less than, or I guess not anything less than a win. A draw would still keep you alive, potentially force it to another potential game six if we go that far. But no one they've got to make it happen here and now. They cannot afford any more of the same kind of, I don't want to say rookie mistakes, but kind of inexperienced
Humor
mistakes
mistakes,
that
yeah,
we
exactly.
saw there on Rialto with some of the ult usage and just not necessarily understanding what their win conditions.
I mean, it's a difficult one to talk about, but I mean, at least no one have something that they do know. They have the clutch factor. They showed it off yesterday with 3-2 victory in 6 maps, and
Mhm.
they beat this exact same team 3-2 before.
Right. Yeah. No. So they know that they are capable of it. So the confidence necessarily should not be kind of escaping no one at this point. Whereas a lot of teams would fall down 0-2 in a situation like this, start losing heart a little bit, start doubting themselves. No one has been there; they've done that, and now they've just got to do it one more time here if they want to come away with the title. Of course, it's going to be difficult. Diamond Gatekeepers stand in their way, and they don't want to let this one slip out of their grasp like they did in their regular season matchup. They're looking to redeem themselves. And now they are just one map away from doing that.
Yeah, and I do want to apologize to Gatekeepers. They've had some tremendous play this series, but the story really is no one because they yesterday they looked so good later on in the series, but they struggled early on and they've made some confusing map picks again today, and they've looked lost on the exact same 2 maps. So it's just so confusing to me. Having watched and casted that series yesterday, and they're making the exact same errors. It feels like I'm watching the same series. But now they've changed things up. They're running the Sarissa Sigma they didn't run before on this map. They run the Reinhardt Diva. It's been interesting to see if they can find their mojo yet again, but I really don't think it's going to happen.
Well, doubts are potential fuel here for no one as they try to make the comeback. Coming out of the attacker side is just going to be Diamond Gatekeepers. They're rolling out with the Ryan Sigma. We saw a little bit of this earlier on Lijiang Tower. We'll see if they can make it work this time around. They're, of course, not going to have that Arista to kind of combo up with a lot of their damage, but still double shield in play, just slight variations of it on either side. Trip does take an early accretion to the face, having to back off for the time being.
Yeah, double spam competition for the defense, making it difficult for this offense to push in, but they're going to advance anyway.
Indeed, and they seem to have found Autumn Canvas a little bit out of position. They're isolated from the rest of the team. No support coming in immediately, and they're able to hunt down the Ashe. Now both DPS gone on the side of no one, and the rest of the team just falling one by one. They don't really have any way to stick around in this fight. No sustain available to them at this point, and that is Diamond Gatekeepers just continuing, keeping up the momentum that they have built over the course of this series.
If I'm Autumn Canvas, I am screaming at my supports there because you know those that you need resources on that high ground. You're in position on that high ground to do that damage, and you don't have the resources to do your job. You know, you'll be screaming at your supports. You want those resources, otherwise you aren't able to do the damage that you can do on that Ashe. And now, look at the result of that. Ultimate charge, firmly in favor of the side of the Gatekeepers, and I think it's now time to give credit to the support line that they have. Bisezu on the Honor has been getting tremendous charge on that Honor, being able to create win conditions consistently with the Nano Base and Legend. It's just been insane on the Lucio.
Yeah, and now we're gonna see this fight kicking off with the Riptire coming in. Not gonna find anything there for Madly as they try to follow up on the early Gravitic Flux, but all the ults being used immediately by no one. Now it's Diamond Gatekeepers pushing in with ults of their own. The blade is out from Trip, finding a little bit more value out of it this time than we perhaps saw earlier on in the series. Able to deal with Autumn Canvas, now looking to hunt in on the Sage's Castle, deal with that Mercy, will finally get the dash through, and the nano boosted Reinhardt is just deadly, diving deep into the back line.
Okay, so the win condition for the side of no one is keeping your Ashe alive, keeping your DPS alive, and getting that damage in. Your tanks are just kind of there. to stabilize, use that supercharger, build it up to make sure that your DPS can do even more damage. Their flux is there to set up kills for your DPS. It's not happening. The supports aren't giving them the resources. They're not getting the damage off, and I'm not sure if it's the DPS just not hitting things or the supports not giving the resources, which I suspect it is, but the opposition are doing that. They're setting up their ignitions. That Reinhardt nano boost goes onto it, and they win the fight from there.
Okay, Jax tries to throw out the Riptire, but very telegraphed there in the route that it was going to take. It dealt with pretty easily up on the high ground. Now the Shatter comes down, completely whiffs there for Nez, and finally it seems like no one are going to be able to win themselves a team fight potentially here as they stave off Diamond Gatekeepers for the time being, but it has been all red in the kill feed throughout this map. They have such an incredible time bank, and no one are really down to their final kind of breaths here.
Yeah, we finally see some mistakes that we haven't really seen since Lijiang Tower from the side of the Gatekeepers, but you still have to worry for no one. They have ultimates online, so they should be able to survive for a long time, and they look a lot more stabilized with this more simple support composition. That's a nice gravitic flux for a billowy splash and supercharger combination, and that's going to be a quick fight win for them.
Yeah, that is 2 big ultimates committed, but again, it will continue to buy them some time, and they've got some more coming online in the very near future here with both those support ultimates nearly ready to go. So a chance here for no one to keep themselves alive and keep an opportunity to make something happen on this map. Is now Diamond Gatekeepers pushing in, trying to buy some space. They're going to commit their gravitic flux very early on this fight, forces out both support ultimates. That's not a bad trade at all. Now the Nano Blade into the back trip is going in deep. Can't quite find the targets just yet. Will eventually get in onto Autumn Canvas, but that's going to be it before the Riptire puts them in the ground. And no one's still managing to keep this one going madly, uncontested in the back line.
Yeah, this time it's Trip's fault, because Trip had the Nano Blade, they baited out both of the support ultimates. You just got to go and get the kills. You have all the resources you need. They don't have the resources they need. It's firmly his fault. He doesn't get the kills with the Dragon Blade, and that means no one are able to stabilize. However, they use all of their ultimates in the process, and they are not kind of stuck on this Wrecking Ball pick, which is less than optimal. There's a slight window of opportunity here for the side of the Gatekeepers, who have the Riptire and the Earth Shatter online.
Well, we'll see if Jax can get anything going with this Riptire. They perhaps need to try and push in, provide a little bit of distraction before that ultimate comes out, but we'll just see in a moment. Right now, it's going to be Nez trapped up a little bit as they push in, just trying to take space. And they've already found Madly on the other side. The Junkrat is down. A lot of that spam is gone out of this fight here for no one as they try to keep this going. They do deal with fire, but still the kills are there for Diamond Gatekeepers. They've taken this space, and now the Nano Rhine is standing at the spawn, just trying to keep everyone off the cart. It's just the Moira here trying to buy time. They've got a Wrecking Ball as well here from Cold Tortoise, but what can they really hope to accomplish? They don't have any damage.
Oh no!
Crap.
The trap.
Unlucky.
Yeah, it's a big unlucky in the chat. I mean, just the difference here is that the Gatekeepers are using their win conditions better. I mean, no one, yeah, they were able to stabilize for a few fights just by having a severe ult advantage and then winning those fights cleanly, but when it really comes down to the fights where both the teams have a similar amount of ultimates or are building up to a similar amount of ultimates, they lose because they don't know what their win condition is, they don't know where to put their resources, and that is the huge advantage that the Gatekeepers have. So no one, they need to figure out something. They need to figure out what their win conditions are. The shot calling has to improve. Even if, like, for example, here's a good example. It isn't exactly one in this series, but say you're 70% to a Sombra EMP, right? And you know they have, like, Graviton Search, and you have also a self-destruct online. You want your D.Va to be able to get that self-destruct off, right? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to constantly hack that Zarya so they can't use the Zarya bubbles, which means you can get your self-destruct online, and also means your D.Va can save her Matrix for more important cooldowns so they don't have to waste their Matrix on focusing on that Graviton Search. So that's something you can do, but then also in that process, you're building up the EMP, and that's your win condition. You're not fighting to win a team fight off D.Va self-destruct, but you're playing to help your D.Va, but then you're also planning to win the team fight off of EMP. And that big EMP opportunity, that's your team fight win. You know, that's your win condition. And that's what they need to focus on. No one needs to be better at setting their win conditions. They seem to have a fight plan, but they don't know what that big ka-ching ultimate is.
Yeah, and to their credit, Diamond Gatekeepers, even when the ultimates were there for no one throughout that round, they did such a great job of kiting out any aggression that was coming from the defenders. Now it's going to be them swapping over to the defense, and they're going to continue with this Ryan Sigma comp that worked so well for them this time. They'll have Trip playing the Hanzo. This is a little bit of an adaptation here, gives them more poke from the defensive positioning here, and I like it on King's Row. Could help to keep this frontline battle in their favor, despite the fact that they might be at a shield disadvantage. But just some posturing around the statue for now.
Yeah, I would have preferred the Ashe pick, however. Trip struggled on the Ashe earlier, so going to a Hanzo, maybe more of a comfort pick for them, might feel a little bit better.
Indeed, and now things really about to kick off here as no one trying to claim themselves some space. They've managed to get on canvas up onto the high ground, kind of force an awkward positioning here, a little bit of a split position from the side of Diamond Gatekeepers on the defense. That Amp Matrix is not bad at all, but they cannot capitalize on it. They can't focus down any of these individual targets, and they're just going to be pushed back with a Riptire bearing down on them. Jack's just going to leave it here outside the choke. Doesn't even have to necessarily go for kills, but will find them anyway. The double kill.
Oh, that Dragon Strike, you're going to want back there. That doesn't really achieve anything for the Gatekeepers, but I'm looking at no one, and they're just not walking forwards. They had the opportunity to burst down Nez with the amplification matrix, and they just didn't push forwards, and they then just let that Ryan Sigma composition just walk into them. When you're running Rest of Sigma, you're running the more stable composition, just go for it. You have the opportunity to walk forwards. It just seems that they just don't understand the pieces, and when they can understand the pieces and walk forward and get this damage in, they might have a chance.
Oh, but there's a solid shatter there. It cancels the kinetic grasp coming out from Billy Splash, but still the Riptire in the back.
Oh, no!
Sadly gets a double kill with the ultimate, finds another with the passive Minds on death, and that should be enough here for no one to push through without having to commit anything else to this fight. That's going to be big as they look to keep up some momentum.
Well, there's the win condition. Halt into Riptire. We bait out some of their cooldowns, and play a little bit passively, play the bait, and go for that Riptire Hulk combination, and you win the fight. So when you're playing for win conditions and you know what that win condition is, that's when you will be able to win more team fights. And that's something you can take into your competitive games, take into your scrims. It's such an important message, especially from a coach's perspective. If you're not using your win conditions or identifying a win condition, that screams of inconsistency.
No, definitely. Always going to come back to bite you if you don't have a solid plan going into the fight. But no one, they're going to have plenty of win conditions here as they try to push through this choke. They've got ults galore, including that Nano Blade ready to go. The Supercharger, the Gravitic Flux, though, going to be what kicks things off as they try to push forward. But they walk right into the Dragons. The double kill there from Trip coming up clutch. It's just going to shut down this push completely. No chance for no one to really make anything of this.
Yeah, the Dragon Strike is extremely powerful ultimate in this segment of the map, especially point B, because it's so linear that you don't really have anywhere to go unless you're extremely mobile. You're able to have any vertical mobility as well and just get above those Dragon Strikes. So it is difficult to navigate. Oh, jabs, just basically killing them in spawn right now. But it's difficult to deal with those Dragon Strikes. I mean, and now they have this choke hold, this archway hold, which is so extremely to get past, and no one just struggling to even stamp any authority on the rest of this match.
I mean, they're struggling to get out of their spawn right now. This is absolutely brutal, and they are about to have to pin literally all of their hopes onto this Nano Blade from Autumn Canvas. And so far, he's had a little bit of struggles kind of finding that the blades across the board haven't necessarily been the most impactful throughout this series. But this is an opportunity to make a big play for his team, especially when they need it most. They're running out of time, but the Shatter puts a couple on their back. Nez able to secure the kill on the Cold Tortoise. Still, the blade is unsheathed, and they seem afraid to push forward.
Yeah, they can't get through this archway. Here comes that Dragon Blade with the Nano Boost. Let's see what it does.
Okay, the sound barrier is a little bit late to save Thick Glorf there, but that's all that Autumn Canvas is going to be able to get for the time being. Eventually chases down Nez as well and gets them through the choke point, but that is just one fight here on point B. They've still got at least one more to go, and time is running short.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a 1 minute 53 time bank if you are the Gatekeepers. And you know, if you just twiddle down the time bank to overtime, then you have no possibility of losing this map. And you can just set up for one fight win condition on point A, but that's not what they want to do. They want to hold on point B, and Jabs gets the kill with the Riptire.
Okay, we're going to see dueling tires here as Madly tries to break one out as well, looking to go up over the roofs of these buildings. But so far, everybody on No One just playing back, and a nice trip comes up clutch, saves the Reinhardt, and that keeps them in the fight for the time being. Nez will eventually fall to the focus fire, and an opportunity for No One to keep their hopes alive, to keep on pushing here. They're going to have to deal with these remaining members of the Diamond Gatekeepers, but they will be able to do so. The Coalescence gives them the staying power on the point, and they push on through.
Yeah, they're going to make a swap over to the Baptiste Lucio composition there, like, to try and extend these fights, because you're going to have the Immortality field cooldown, so that means you're going to withstand one of the win conditions or one of the big cooldowns that No One are going to throw at you. So they're going to try to stall this one out and stall them into overtime. However, losing these kills in Legend and Jax is not going to help them.
Yeah, they've got to avoid losing anybody else here as they kind of back off. The Nano Blade is almost online here once again. That could be the key to pushing through here. It was looking dire for No One as they were running out of time, but now an opportunity here. They'll wait out the Dragons, but they've lost a couple of members in the meantime, and they're just going to have to back off. They're not even really going to be able to escape with very many of their lives, and now things are looking a little bit better for Diamond Gatekeepers as they stabilize.
Yeah, both of these teams, I feel like this is going to come down to the Riptires because, yeah, there's a race against time to build that sound barrier up for the Nano Blade, but you also have the Immortality field to kind of, use that as sort of like backstand you. That's your other option. Madly Dank are now going to go for the Riptire from far back, so they have opportunities to get the kill on the Riptire, and the Immortality field is gone, so that means Riptire can do whatever it wants.
Yeah, but it's traded out immediately. Jackstraps in the meantime goes for one of his own. It's an advantage now for No One as they push forward. The blade is out from Autumn Canvas, even with no nano, still finding a lot of value. A double kill there, and I don't know that there's really going to be a great opportunity. It's going to be a couple of staggers here trying to get in to buy time. The Immortality, it does some work, but still just not enough with the trap on the point. They're able to deal with Legend, and it's just stall coming out from the Diamond Gatekeepers at this point. The Wrecking Ball trying to buy time until overtime, but it's not going to happen. No One finish on up, and they give themselves a shot here on Kings Row.
I kind of just feel like they've been given a lucky opportunity here, a lucky break, because we see they switch over to the Baptiste. They're going to make fights longer and try and bring it to overtime. So that means that No One can't win the map. That means that they will guarantee not lose the map on the side of Gatekeepers. It means that they have options in how they want to play that point out where No One were pretty weak. But it kind of feels like they threw that away with those picks going pretty poorly, and then throwing that Immortality field out, and they weren't able to get that sound barrier, which meant that they were pretty vulnerable to the Dragon Blade, which followed, and they still weren't able to get the sound barrier up for the stall picks, which meant that they undoubtedly fell on point C, and now No One have a lucky break, a chance to get back into the series, and we've seen before, you give No One a chance, and they'll take it.
Yeah, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, but they're going to have to come up clutch here with only a minute to work with. That first round of attacks for both these teams, the problem for No One at this point is they had a lot of trouble with points A and point B. It was point C where they really came alive, and the exact opposite was true for the Diamond Gatekeepers. So even if we were on even footing in terms of time, I would be leaning towards Diamond Gatekeepers at this point, but they've got over twice as much time in the bank. They're going to be starting off on the defense here, and already some indecision from No One as they don't quite have their comp set as they roll out of spawn. They're going to be going with Cold Tortoise on the Wrecking Ball. Don't feel like they have time to work up to a lot of ultimates, need to win fights here and now, and that's exactly what they needed. They get an opening pick, just some spam damage in onto Legend, gives them a chance to go forward. The charge deep into the back line sets up the dash there from Autumn Canvas, and all the kills going in favor of No One.
I was extremely concerned when I saw them swapping heroes in spawn. They looked like they were indecisive. They looked like they were nervous. However, they set up perfectly. Madly Dank are getting 3 kills in that fight. Coming up clutch! Once again, they came up clutch so many times yesterday, yet they're doing it yet again to try and prove that No One are the #1 team, and they're going to try and get back into the series. However, I think they're going to have an archway hold, so they're gonna have to get through this difficult archway that they struggled with last time, and that might come back to bite them.
Yeah, but Jax is on the Doomfist this time. No Junkrat that gave them so much trouble the first time around, and so an opportunity for no one to make something happen here. They don't quite have ults online. Dankart almost there toward that first Riptire. Could be an opportunity for the team to find some kills. As soon as they deal with the Immortality Field, that should come through. Now trying to wrap around the back, looking for an opening here. Can they deal with it? Cannot quite. Just barely any HP there on the tire, but it deals with B. And Diamond Gatekeepers, they gave up space trying to hide from the tire, but now they've just got to back off completely.
Yeah, and they had some tires as well, which means that they might not even get a fight at the end of point B. The Haunted has to stay alive. We'll get the particle barrier, but I don't think that Trip's going to survive. We'll get a Mega Health Pack as well. We'll get a kill as well, so if they can get a touch here, it's going to be desperate for the offense.
Oh, and even gets the dragons onto the cart, deals with Big Burrito right before the Nano was online. It's just the Coalescence buying some time here for no one as they try to keep this going. Somehow they're fighting this one back from a numbers disadvantage, just waiting for this blade to come online for Autumn Canvas. One more shot should do it here. The blade is ready to go. It is out. Too late. Oh my god, Canvas trying to clutch it up here, will go down to the Zarya, but Cold Tortoise is still here with the mines all around them, but the numbers are coming back for Diamond Gatekeepers. They have the advantage, even with the Nano onto the Wrecking Ball. This one's going to be difficult.
Oh no, damn time!
He donates his life to the mines there, and with Dankart back on the Doomfist of their own, this is doable. This is winnable now for the side of no one. They isolate Nez, they focus down that Reinhardt, and with the sleep into the back onto some of the supports, an opportunity now for no one to keep this push going. A miracle fight.
I'm not exactly sure what happened, but Legend struggling to get the soundbar off, which meant that the Dragon Blade got so many kills. Jabs, rocket punching into the minefield. It seems like the pressure is starting to come to this roster, and they have at least ultimates for this next fight, so they might be able to hold them on this corner.
That should just be it. Jab's gonna pick up a lot of the final blows there, provided the distraction with the Meteor Strike, opens the door for Nez to hit the big shatter, and they seal the deal there, but not before no one push it nearly to the end of the map. That's a long way for 1 minute of push.
But you have to feel like they give up a couple of fights on the side of the Gatekeepers. No one have been given another lucky break. That's the defensive round twice on Kingston has been bad for the Gatekeepers. They wanted to stall the overtime. They couldn't do so because they lost so many stagger kills in a previous fight. And now they give up too much space at the start of point B, and they aren't able to get the archway hold. And then that fight at the end of point B. You shouldn't be losing that. You have the sound barrier. You have the tools available. And now you've given no one a chance to get back into the series. And as I said before, they take their chances.
I mean, in there, we saw Cold Tortoise was the lone man standing on the cart there in overtime, coming up clutch with the team alongside Autumn Canvas with that blade to finally secure that fight win. Absolutely crazy stuff there, as no one, they're hanging on for dear life. They are clawing and scratching for every little bit of ground that they can get. They don't want to go down here, and now they've given themselves a great shot at it. 219. This is going to actually be incredibly difficult for Diamond Gatekeepers to make this push work.
Yeah, I mean, they're back on a map that they showed promise on yesterday, or no one. So it's not surprising to see them fight back, but it just feels like Gatekeepers just have given them too many opportunities.
That is definitely true at this point, but we'll see if Gatekeepers can try to keep this one from slipping out of their grasp. They almost had no one dead to rights earlier on, given the way the first couple of rounds seemed to be going, but now it's going to come down to this. Is Gatekeepers a little bit hesitant to push in right now? They know they've got some time in their back pocket, but they cannot be complacent here. They got to find some picks and be able to open things up quite nicely there with the kill on to Big Burrito. And with that, it's going to be hard for no one to make anything of this fight. Even with a charge there in onto Legend, it's still a numbers disadvantage for No One as they try to keep this going. Their health bars are falling all around them, and Autumn goes down, Billowy as well, and they'll just have to back off. They need to give this up. I don't think that Cold Tortoise should stick around for very long, is slept up in the back line and not going to be able to buy any more time.
Yeah, the problem with this Wrecking Ball pick, although you are able to take a lot more engagements and a lot more fights, which theoretically is better, you don't have any defensive utility or necessarily offensive utility other than that power driver. Yeah, cool, you've got the personal shields, but it's not going to mean much. And yes, you can stall time off the bank, but when we're now going to be in overtime, it's not going to make much of a difference. And now what you're kind of done, you've kind of fed ult charge over to the opposition. They have 6 banks of ultimates to work with, so realistically, if they use their ults correctly and have good ult economy, you've handed the series back over to the side of the Gatekeepers.
Now the Gatekeepers, with all of their ultimates online, they cannot step off this cart. We're going to be in overtime in 9 seconds here, as now the tire coming out from Jax is very early, sweeping around the backside, looking for a couple of members. Finds 3!
They invest 2 of their ultimates. Our Shatter and Riptire, 2 of the faster building ones, so not a bad cost-effective fight for the offense who are looking to regain control of this series. However, only Minefield invested from the defense, which means a 2-for-1 trade for them, so this is still anyone's game.
No, I mean, that's the kind of efficient fight you have to take here when you are in overtime. So well played from Diamond Gatekeepers to kick things off, but now they'll be at a little bit of an ult disadvantage going into this one, still with the Gravitic Flux, but the opening pick, Thickglarf comes up clutch, finds Madly off on the high ground, a little bit isolated, no shield to protect him. Even the Deadeye from the high ground just gets stunned up. The accretion, Thickglarf, the hero plays coming out from the Sigma are absolutely massive. And Diamond Gatekeepers, they're finding the kills. It's all falling apart here for No One.
Yeah, I mean, Thickglarf gets the kill into the Junkrat. That means Manly Dankart can't use that Riptire. That ultimate isn't able to be used, and that's the ultimate that they have used to win so many fights. Cold Tortoise now kind of stuck in that backline. Wonder if they're going to secure the kill into that Wrecking Ball, or if they're going to get back. And Thickglarf, of course, getting that nice accretion later on in the fight. It's all up to this Riptire if no one went back in this series.
Oh, but it doesn't look like it's happening. 2 quick kills there for Diamond Gatekeepers. They've got the nano on Jax. He falls off the edge of the map. The boot from Cold Tortoise might just save the day here, but the Deadeye in from Trip takes out Sage's castle. Now it is all desperation here for No One. They are swept off the cart. The tire coming in might just be too little, too late. Looking for the hero play. Does find 2. Madly able to chime back in, but it's only the Tracer buying time here on the cart. As soon as they deal with Autumn Canvas, that should be it. Diamond Gatekeepers, they deny any possibility of the reverse sweep. Not happening today, No One. And Diamond Gatekeepers secure the Junior Division Championship.
Yeah, Diamond Gatekeepers win the first ever NA Junior Division of Console GitGud, so congrats to them. Commiserations to No One. They've been fantastic to watch the entire season, but let's get into the analytics of this one, because this is super interesting. Gatekeepers, we'll start with them. They are our champions, and they look clean. They were able to build up to those ultimates, build up to those win conditions, and they used them rather well. But late in the series, I felt like they kind of cracked into the pressure a little bit and let No One back in. However, they came up clutch when it matters, and that is a crucial skill. And then we go over to No One. No One yesterday, they looked lost first 2 maps, right? And then they came back into the series. They found their identity. And what confused me again today is I looked at the lineup. I was like, okay, so they're going with their identity from yesterday. They found it yesterday. They know what their best 6 is, and they don't use the 6 they used yesterday in the same way. And it feels like they lost their identity again. And cool, yeah, you had a good King's Row, but that's really capitalizing on Gatekeepers' mistakes. I feel like, you found your identity yesterday. Why not use it again?
Now, it does leave us with some questions after going undefeated through the entire season. No One come up short a little bit here today. They just weren't quite firing on all cylinders. And to the credit of Diamond Gatekeepers, I think throughout the series they were quite good at punishing any mistakes that we saw from No One, whether it was mistimed ultimates, it was missed positions from players at key moments. whether it was just kind of catching the aggression of no one at times and kiting back really well. Diamond Gatekeepers at every turn were ready for what no one was throwing at them, even if it wasn't quite necessarily their best or what we expected out of no one. There's got to be a lot of credit to our champions here tonight, as they are able to get their revenge. They hand no one their first defeat of the season and secure a well-earned title here.
Yeah, it was a kind of dominating 3-0 sweep, but I still can't wrap my head around the decision to play Lee Xiongtor and then the decision to play Rialto. It doesn't make sense. You were poor on those maps yesterday, and it just seems that no one kind of threw the series away before it even began. But fair play to the Diamond Gatekeepers. They were really solid today. You know, they made sure that they took advantage of those mistakes. They made sure they kept their win conditions clean. But in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking about those mistakes that no one made, not only in the game, but outside of it when they're deciding their map picks.
No, it definitely makes you kind of wonder, what this series really could have been if we had seen both of these teams kind of firing on all cylinders. As it is, Diamond Gatekeepers, they get the 3-0, they get the sweep, no reverse this time around for no one. And on the side of Diamond Gatekeepers, I look at up and down this roster, and I thought we saw very solid play coming through from pretty much each and every member of this team. I think we saw some struggles from Trip at times, but they really swung back in, I think, on that final map in a big way. And throughout the entire series, that support line of Legend and B, I think
Yeah.
were fantastic.
Yeah, I actually want to give my MVP to B. I think B was just setting up the win conditions rather well. I think Legend played better individually. Had better mechanics, was playing around themselves pretty well. But I mean, B set up so many of those win conditions that we were talking about, where you have to make sure that you use your win conditions to win those team fights, and they made sure that they did so. So B gets my MVP for the finals.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Thick Glar for
Yeah.
myself. I think the Sigma play throughout was really nice. Either when they were running the Orisa Sigma or the Rhine Sigma that we got there on Kings Row. Of course, in those final crucial fights on Kings Row, I thought Thick was the one to really set the tone for Diamond Gatekeepers. Came up incredibly clutch when they needed it, and they secure a big victory. Huge congrats to this team for being our first ever console champions.
Yeah, so our EU champions are set. That was Inferno. Our NA Junior champions are set. That was Diamond Gatekeepers. We just watched that match. And stay tuned for tomorrow. We will have our Xbox NA Senior Championships going on. I believe it'll be the Minnesota Vibe Kings taking on. Oh, who's still left in the competition? All right, this is gonna be difficult. Whoever wins the other game.
Yeah, I think we are still waiting on exactly who the participants of that grand finals are going to be. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on socials for all of that kind of business. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. It was an excellent series from start to finish. Huge congrats again to the Diamond Gatekeepers. They are your champions of the Xbox in a junior division. A well-earned victory here tonight. They get their revenge. They pull off the sweep, and now they get to taste sweet victory.
Yeah, and I'll go and celebrate that one. But I think that's gonna be it from us here, Elon. How we've enjoyed bringing you this match. And do we have any closing thoughts?
No, thank you everyone for joining us, and of course, thanks as always to the dedicated staff behind the scenes, giving their time and effort over to the console division. It was really exciting to be able to bring GitGud to that side of things, bring some new people into this competitive scene, and I cannot wait for next season.